am wearing a pink wig, and honestly, it feels fantastic. Actually, physiologically, it's kind of itchy, but I feel dope in it. I feel pretty rad. Totally unrelated to this video. Has nothing to do with pink hair, but I was going to Whole Foods today, and there's a wig store in the same like strip mall of my Whole Foods, and I was like, oh, let me go in here. And I ended up playing dress up with this adorable woman who runs the store. She's probably like in her 60s, and we tried on all these wigs, and I ended up leaving with a few, so I'm happy. I think I might go back and try some other fun wigs. But today's video is actually about dieting, and specifically quitting dieting, and all the things that have happened since I decided to stop dieting about a month ago, maybe a little bit more. This might not be significant to you, or the 10 things that I'm talking about today might not be that big of a deal to you, but I think to someone who's been struggling with eating issues literally 80% of their life, like, these little victories are really, really important. And I want to share this with you in case you are also struggling with dieting and body image issues, in the event that it might help you overcome them or make the decision to also quit dieting. I want to just recommend the book Intuitive Eating. I'm not like sponsored by the book. I don't make any money off the book, but it is something that has helped me quit dieting. And intuitive eating is basically about listening to your body. Like, a lot of times people who diet are just following some set of rules, and there's so many different diets, and one's telling you to not eat breakfast, and one's telling you that breakfast is the most important meal of the day and stop eating after 6, but you're like, I'm hungry. And it's really, really confusing. And when you start to learn all these rules, you become out of touch with the intuitive nature of your body's hunger cues. And so you have to relearn how to eat after 27 years. Well, you know, maybe I ate intuitively for the first 5 years of my life, who knows? After all these years of trying to learn all these different rules, and, you know, one year this diet's great, and the next year it's totally crap, and then there's a new one, and, you know, it's like, there's gotta be an easier way than this. And I've noticed some things that have happened ever since I made the decision to stop dieting. And I made this decision to stop dieting because dieting doesn't necessarily make you lose weight. Like, it might initially, you know, you follow this set of rules. I'm gonna eat 1,200 calories a day, and I'm gonna make sure to count them, and then I'm gonna work out an hour, that subtract 500 calories, so then I'm 700, okay, so by this day, I should be this many pounds. It might work, yes, it might work, but it's not gonna last. And if it does last, you're really just, you're not a fun person to be around. You're not enjoying life very much, and it's not sustainable. I don't know, it's like, I've lost weight on all these different, like, you know, ways to get fast weight loss result diets and stuff, but have I ever maintained it? No, I don't even know what my body would look like if I just decided to eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm full. Like, maybe I'm not naturally a heavy person, you know? Maybe I'm a lot lighter than I am right now because I ate when I was hungry and stopped when I was full and wasn't messing with my metabolism. And that's the thing that happens when you're dieting so much, that you're messing with your metabolism. And what that ends up doing is that makes you slow your metabolism down and gain weight in the long run. Like, yo-yo dieting and all that is really, really not good for your body. And I went on a rant, and that's not what I was supposed to do for this video. I'm just supposed to tell you the 10 things that happened. But I'm hoping that I stick with this not dieting thing, because diets call my name on the days that I feel heavier than usual. But I'm trying to really just ignore those voices and go through with this, because I do feel a lot lighter in terms of my soul. Like, I'm like, wow, that to not freak out about what I'm eating all the time. It's not like I don't freak out about what I'm eating. I do sometimes, but, you know, healing is a process, and I'm making the commitment to work on that process. Anyways, I for once typed out on a computer what I'm gonna say on a video. So here we go. Number 1, I have gotten to go to all these different restaurants that I had always crossed off of my list of restaurants that I was allowed to go to because of their menu. And when I've gone to these restaurants, I've ordered items that I've dreamed of eating. You know, like a mac and cheese, let's say. I'm like, oh, this is my forbidden food, I'm not allowed to eat it. And I've eaten it, and I've like been sitting there chewing it, tasting it, and I'm kind of just like, this is it? Like, this thing you fantasized about every single day that you couldn't, like, that you thought I'm never gonna be able to eat it. It's my favorite thing ever. I'm obsessed with it. It really isn't that great. I mean, this has happened to me multiple times. I went to the movies with Adam and I never let myself get popcorn because popcorn's bad for you and whatever. And we got the smallest size popcorn and we ate like 30% of it. It really is like salt and butter on cardboard. It's really not that special. And I'm sitting there like, this is what you deprived yourself of all those years? If you had just let yourself grab a handful, eat it, and really taste it, and make that realization years ago, then maybe you wouldn't even have wanted to order popcorn at all. We also got these candies that, they're like a sour candy, and I love sour candy, but this specific one, I was like, meh, whatever. Threw the bag out. Ate a few, threw the bag out. If I was diet Lena, I would have eaten every single piece of popcorn, and I would have eaten every single piece of candy in that bag, because the diet mentality tells me this is the only chance that I have to have this, and I already broke this relationship where I'm like on a diet. So it's like you do one mess up, you're just gonna keep messing up, and the next day you'll start over. And so you binge this whole day, and then the next day clean slate restriction. And that going up and down is really not good for your body. But me having the handfuls of popcorn and the pieces of the sour candy, and then realizing like, oh, I don't really care for it that much, I probably ate way less than I would have if I was on a diet. Because if I was on the diet mentality, I would have just eaten it all because I could, because I decided that I'm committing to this binge right now, and then tomorrow we're starting over. So yeah, number one, I ordered things that I always dreamed of and realized they weren't actually that great, that I was just messing with myself for no reason. How exhausting. Number two, I've left food on my plate at restaurants many, many times and put them in to-go boxes and brought them home. And I loved the food. I thought it was delicious, but I acknowledged like, I'm good right now. I'm pretty full. And if I eat the whole thing, it's not gonna taste any better with each bite because I'm like getting used to the taste, you know? So I get to take this home, and in a few hours when I'm hungry again, I can enjoy it again. That has been a way more enjoyable experience than eating and cleaning my entire plate and then going home and feeling like death and feeling like, why did I do this to myself? I'm not respecting my body. And it's happened to me. Like I brought home the leftovers, sat on the couch for a few hours with Adam. I was playing Tetris, and then I was like, you know what, you're hungry again. And it was 2 a.m, but I was hungry, and I was like, oh, this is great. I have that food in the fridge. I can just eat that. And so yeah, I mean, having leftovers in the house that I wanted to eat when, you know, personally, I'm happy about that, because the old me and the me that might pop up, and the me that might pop up again in the future, because, you know, healing is not a linear thing. It's like up and down and up and down. That me is proud to have leftovers in the fridge instead of having them all in my stomach at once. Number 4, I went on vacation and I felt good about my eating. Like before, when I would go on vacation, minus this last time, I was always in this mentality of like, oh, this is the only chance I have to eat it. I have to eat it all. I have to get everything. I have to like, it was like a completely crazy like binge mentality. Instead, what I did was I ordered a bunch of stuff that I wanted to try, and I tried them. And then I was like able to say, oh, that one was okay. That one was good. And then, you know, just be like, whether or not you go back to that country, it doesn't matter if you eat all the food, and just like accepting that. You know, I had just a really good relationship with food while I was traveling, and I was a little bit like freaked out, like, oh my God, you're trying all these really great foods and you're eating, you know, 3 big meals a day because we keep going out to restaurants and stuff. But when I came home, I tried on all my clothes and they still fit. So I'm not weighing myself or anything, but yeah, just having a really good relationship with food while I was traveling, because I decided that I wasn't gonna be on a diet. There was nothing that I couldn't have on my plate, and making that decision is so profound. It's like freedom. Because if someone tells you that you cannot have something, that's all you're gonna think about. Trust me, it's the worst. Oh, this one's crazy. It happened to me this morning. I've forgotten to eat. Like, normally when I'm on a diet, I'm so obsessed with food that I'm thinking about it all the time. It is at the front of my mind. I can't think about anything really important because I'm just thinking about food. How am I gonna get food? Food. And today, I completely forgot about food until my stomach was like, oh, we're hungry. And then I was like, oh yeah, I have to feed this thing. And that was really amazing for me. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, forget to eat. People might think that it's like a starvation thing, but it's not this like weird starvation thing. I was able to say, that I'm actually listening to my body, and my body hadn't told me that I had to eat yet. And normally when I wake up in the morning with this diet mentality, I'm like, okay, 2 eggs, measured amount of cheese, bacon, and a lot of times I was eating that when I wasn't even hungry yet. And that's not great for you, you know? Overall, there's just this like newfound sense of freedom, and I'm really, really happy about it. I think this is number 5. Yeah, number 5, I haven't had a Last Supper meal. Last Supper meal is, or not meal, but binge. It's like you kind of mess up on your diet. So let's say someone's like, hey, have a scoop of my ice cream or a taste of it, and you taste it, and then you freak out. You're like, I messed up my diet. And then you go on this crazy binge, the Last Supper, and then you say, I'm gonna wake up in the morning and I'm gonna start over on my diet again. I haven't had a Last Supper day, and that is amazing because number 6 is that I haven't woken up with a food hangover. And food hangovers are the worst. They're the night after a binge, and you wake up and you're feeling like crap, you feel a little bit sick from all the sugar or whatever you ate, you just feel stuffed, you don't feel great, and you don't feel like you're respecting your body, but you have to convince yourself to go on another diet, which is essentially just gonna lead to another Last Supper. But yeah, so I haven't had a Last Supper meal, and I haven't woken up with this food hangover, which, I just remember every Thanksgiving, just food hangover the next day. And I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? You can literally eat Thanksgiving foods any time of the year. Stop acting like it's a big deal and you have to eat all of it right now. And you have to eat 7 slices of pie. I feel like this one is one that you guys are probably wondering about, like, has she lost any weight? I am not weighing myself, but I fit in all my clothes still, and I might even be smaller, I don't know, but I don't feel heavy in my body. And when I'm dieting, which leads me to binging, I always feel heavier in my body. I don't feel like I'm respecting it. So I can update you guys more in the future on what happens with my continued intuitive eating. I have a feeling that I'm gonna end up losing some weight, not intentionally. I just think that my body's gonna go back to its like normal way of eating, and that maybe my normal way of eating is less than I was eating on a diet. So number 8 is something that I feel like I've been kind of reiterating throughout this entire video, but it's that I feel like I'm nourishing and respecting my body, even though I'm eating these so-called forbidden foods that I wasn't allowed to eat like all of my life. You know, today I went to the Whole Foods hot bar and I got like a little bit of mac and cheese, I got some veggies, I filled up my plate in the way that I wanted to fill it up, and guess what? I have leftovers in my fridge right now, and I just feel like I feel so good for respecting my body. I'm not like controlling myself. I'm not like, okay, promise you're only gonna eat half of this and leave half in the fridge. I was chewing my food, feeling how it felt in my stomach, tasting it in my mouth, like really just being there with my food. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I'm good, we're good. And I just put it away, and if I get hungry again, I can go eat it later. I feel like a lot of my points sound the same at this point. But I don't think you guys realize how big of a deal that is for someone who is obsessed with food, cleans their plate, is binging and then restricting, binging and then restricting. I used to binge and purge. Like, there's been very intense eating disorder things that I've done. And then there's where I am right now, which is like just trying to be really normal with my eating and actually making the decision to not diet anymore. I feel like I can't explain how big of a deal that is. And if you're in my position, then you might really understand. And I bet a lot of you guys are. I mean, I feel like this is something for women that is just like kind of part of our culture, unfortunately. Like, dieting is a sport for women. Dieting is a hobby for women. And I'm making the decision to throw away that part of my identity and that hobby in my life. But I'm creating space for all these new amazing things that I can accomplish and that I could see with a clear mind, instead of thinking about, am I hungry? Did I eat too much? Are we gonna start a new diet tomorrow? Do I have to go make a meal plan for that? Like, oh my God, that's so exhausting. And that leads me to the last thing, which is that my ability to focus on life has increased incredibly. Like, being able to just like wake up this morning and leave the house without thinking about like, what am I gonna eat before I leave? What am I gonna eat after? And like all this extra planning, instead of being like, I'm not hungry right now. When we're hungry, we'll deal with it. And that makes that has like created space for decision making in my brain, because I'm not distributing it and wasting it on food and my body. And you know, this morning when I was in the gym, I didn't really like how my gym clothes looked on me, but I'm just gonna ignore it. Like, even if I gain weight, intuitive eating, which I don't think I personally am going to, some of you might not, I don't know, but the peace of mind and the feeling like I'm actually just like living my life and focusing on so many more important things, like that can't, like, weight can't trump that. And I hope I continue to believe that in the future, even if I gain 20 pounds, even if I gain 30 pounds, because like being able to just like go out to places that your friends invite you and not worry about what's going to be on the menu, and just like, you know, going to the movies and getting the snacks that you want to get, respecting yourself, eating all the food groups, you know, eating the vegetables, eating the fruit, and eating the freaking chocolate. Like, that's really important. And I realized that, and they talk about this a lot in intuitive eating, but when I really satisfy my craving, like yesterday, I was on the couch, I got my period, and I really wanted chocolate. And I walked to 7-Eleven and I got the half-baked Ben & Jerry's chocolate ice cream. And I ate some of it. Like, I took some spoons out of it and put it in a bowl and ate it, and then put the rest in the freezer. Like, instead of deciding like I'm gonna get this fake chocolate or this fake ice cream or whatever to try to satisfy this craving that I have for Ben & Jerry's half-baked, like, I only ended up eating a few spoons of that Ben & Jerry's ice cream instead of trying to go get the diet chocolate bar and the diet ice cream pint. I would have honestly eaten the entire diet chocolate bar and the entire diet pint of ice cream, trying to replace the desire to eat the Ben & Jerry's, whereas I ate way less of the Ben & Jerry's. You know, just like making sure that you're committing to what your body is wanting and not going overboard, you know, just like really listening to your body. And if you do, it's not like I haven't overeaten in the last month. Of course I have. But like being like, oh, you overate, but you really like the food, you really want it, and that's okay. Like, these are going to be profound changes for you, I promise. And if you're not ready to do them now, that's fine. I tried to intuitive eat like maybe a year ago. I actually went to see the woman who wrote intuitive eating, and I had sessions with her and stuff, and I just like wasn't ready. And I believe this time I'm really ready, and I hope so. I hope I don't have another video in a year being like, I'm gonna try this again. And if I do, it's okay. Life is up and down and things happen, you know, especially if something bad happens in your life, like you're gonna fall off course or whatever, but that's okay. Like, forgiving yourself is a big part of this. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, like that Ben & Jerry's is still sitting in my freezer, and I cannot believe it. I cannot believe that I have Ben & Jerry's sitting in my freezer right now. I would never like trust myself to do that sort of thing, you know? It's so weird, because all my mind would do is think, you have Ben & Jerry's in the freezer, you have to eat it, you have to eat it, you want it so bad. But that's the mentality that I have when I'm on a diet. And right now I'm able to just be like forget about it. Like, oh, it's there, yeah. It's cool, because I can have it whenever I want. And I gave it to myself when I wanted it. I don't know. It's crazy because as I'm talking about it, it doesn't seem that hard. And it really isn't. But like making the commitment to stop dieting, something we're so afraid of doing, is such a big deal, especially when I feel like even if I tell people I'm not dieting anymore, like in their heads, they're going to think, ooh, she doesn't respect herself. When in reality, the not dieting is the respecting yourself. Because, God, diet culture is so ugly. And it's not like you're not allowed to eat diet foods. I realized I actually like some diet foods, and I fucking love salad. I love vegetable soup. I love a lot of really healthy things, or things that are labeled healthy, but I also like bad foods. I want fried mac and cheese, you know? And that's okay. And like, I feel like more of us need to have the conversations that I'm having right now about like respecting yourself by deciding that you're gonna give yourself what it wants when it wants it, and not deprive yourself of it for years, and then one day get a taste of it, and maybe you don't even realize you don't like it, but you're gonna binge on it anyways, and then you start over, and it's this cycle of shame and guilt and shame and guilt and shame and guilt. And it feels good to let go of that, or at least begin to let go of that, because I know that this is gonna be a mountain that I'm climbing. But anyways, I feel like a lot of you guys always want updates on my dieting, my fitness. You guys want what I eat in a day videos, and this is what I'm doing in my life right now, and I hope to stick with it forever. I hope that I don't encourage my future daughter, or, you know, any other young impressionable women like yourselves to diet, to be a part of this culture, because it's, women are so much more than that. And I'm not saying that this only applies to women. I just do know that we are a big part of diet culture. We are the majority of diet culture. But yeah, I really recommend intuitive eating. You can even see like a lot of their key points and stuff on their website, so you don't necessarily have to go out and buy the book. I have it on audiobook and I read a little bit of it, but sometimes I just go back to it and listen to it. Like, okay, this is why we're not going back to dieting. And honestly, I can't imagine going back to dieting right now because the amount of pain that dieting caused me, like, there's no way that intuitive eating could be worse than that, you know? 20 years. 20 years. But I don't have to make it 40 years. I don't have to make it 50 years of dieting. I could decide that I'm gonna do this intuitive eating thing now. And it's not like I'm doing this intuitive thing like to diet. I'm literally just deciding to go back to my roots as a baby and decide I'm full mom. I don't want any more, except this time I'm mom and I'm talking to myself. Anyways, this is mostly a long rant about what's going on in my food life, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you like my pink wig because I like this Lena. I feel like a strong, powerful woman, even more so than usual. Thanks for watching my video. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like, and please let me know if in the comments if you guys want more updates like this. I can even do an entire video on intuitive eating, maybe just talking about the 10 principles of intuitive eating. I can even make a video talking about the 10 principles of intuitive eating if you guys want, but yeah, I am trying to be the girl that I needed when I was younger. And so here is a video for a younger LTP and for you. Bye guys.